in collaboration with the Cyprus Mail. This is the Cyprus News Digest with Rosie Charalambous.
Coming up this week, the cost of fuel and electricity has fallen by quite a large percentage, but retail prices have not. We'll talk to the Consumers Association.
So they should take care of their consumers and be honest with them. We don't ask them not to profit, not to make profits, but not to make excessive profits and burden unnecessarily the consumer.
And Cyprus football is reeling from match-fixing allegations.
We will see if there were just a few, because we record in the past that many referees, they retired or they left from the referee union, and by leaving they said a lot of things.
The Consumers Association has sent a letter to the Chamber of Commerce, the Employers and Industrialists Federation and the Small Shopkeepers Association, complaining that after falling prices for both electricity and fuel, prices in the shops have not dropped. Frini Mikhail is from the Consumers Association. Frini, what actually did you say in these letters to the various organisations?
What we said is the obvious, that prices since June 2014 have fallen concerning fuel and electricity. But, moreover, salaries and wages have also fallen significantly, but prices in the shops, sales prices, have not moved from the level they were in June or before. So what we asked the various associations is that they should advise their members to do something in this direction, because this is not acceptable anymore by the consumers. They are not willing to pay more than what is actually needed or supported by their cost and, of course, their profit.
Right, and now, it's not something that hasn't happened before. We've seen it on a regular basis. What is it about business people here that they do seem, when they can get away with it, to just want to increase their profits at the cost of consumer confidence? Really is what this is about, isn't it?
Yeah. This is a problem actually, because they don't seem to respect the consumer who actually supports their business. Without consumers, I don't know how the various enterprises would survive. So they should take care of their consumers and be honest with them. We don't ask them not to profit, not to make profits, but not to make excessive profits and burden unnecessarily the consumer.
Well, it does seem as well that when prices of electricity and petrol go up, that the prices in the shops follow suit with a remarkable alacrity. Have you had an answer from Kiev, for example?
Not yet, because the letter was sent on Friday or Thursday, so we expect some response. But what we would like to see is actual decrease of prices. And this is what we will actually tell the consumers to realize it and buy from those business people who actually respect them. If we see any movement in prices, towards falling prices.
And the other thing, of course, is it is a free market, and it really should be consumer-driven. Is it that in Cyprus consumers don't bother to shop around? Because I suppose a lot of businesses, especially small businesses who are struggling at the moment, if they see the chance for an extra few bucks, they're going to go along with it as long as they can get away with it.
Yes, this is why they behave like this, because it's a free market and nobody can impose on them any decrease in prices. But what is happening here in Cyprus is really unacceptable, because as you said, the moment anything goes up, it's the consumer who pays it immediately. But when they fall, nobody cares. So this is why we appeal to their respect to the consumer, because otherwise there is no legislation or anybody who can impose on them anything.
Now, let's talk as well, if we may, about the basic consumer items like milk, for example. I mean, there was a ceiling price put on that a while ago to try and stop profiteering, but it does seem that since then, to a great degree, an awful lot of outlets are just selling at the ceiling price regardless.
Yes, as you know, the Committee for the Protection of Competition has imposed a very heavy penalty on the producers, on milk producers, because they have not respected the competition. And it was a penalty of 2.1 million euro. Now, we have seen the committee and we told them that we insist on really decrease prices and pay the penalty, because this penalty was paid actually by the consumers. So many years that they have been made excessive profits by keeping or the prices at the same level or even increasing prices.
What about the other basic commodities? I mean, I did hear that you were thinking of calling on consumers to boycott certain items.
Yes, well, this is an idea which comes and goes, because the consumers in Cyprus are not very willing to follow such, not instructions, but invitation to protest by boycotting the consumption of milk or bread or anything else.
That's the problem, isn't it? Because if the
this is the problem,
producers
yes,
and the retailers think that they can get away with it because the consumers won't take action, then I suppose there's nothing to stop them getting away with it.
So that's a problem. This is another problem. You asked me before if they shop around. They do, actually, because of the crisis, and the situation is now better than before concerning shopping around. But in this case, it's not a matter of shopping around, because everywhere the prices are, similarly high, except there are differences between shops, I realize it, and between supermarkets, yes, and they do it. Wherever there is something they can benefit, they do it, the consumers. But if you invite them not to buy milk or bread for some days, I doubt if they will follow.
Well, we'll wait and see if they do, because I think they're feeling their pockets hard hit. Best of luck trying to convince consumers in Cyprus that actually it's the power of their purse that can change the price of goods. Many thanks for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Keep up to date with events in Cyprus and around the world with the Cyprus News Digest.
The biggest achievement of Crime Stoppers has been the ability of the public to be able to give information about crime anonymously.
There's no way I could have kept prostituting without the drugs. There's no way I could have had my body used like a public toilet, because that's actually what prostitution is.
And then the fourth series I started 3 days after I'd won the Oscar, so the whole of the Monarch of the Glen experience was all interplatted with the Gosford Park Oscar experience.
I was working with Ronnie James Dio, and David was going to reform Whitesnake in 2003.
Cyprus was chosen because Cyprus is a stable, peaceful and secure place.
We have to really look closely. What are we doing with children? What are we doing with adolescents? And what are we doing with adults that can help them move into a more literate situation?
The ones that I'm proudest of are the ones that were true discoveries, where we found something we didn't know existed.
A reminder that you're tuned to the Cyprus News Digest. I'm Rosie Charalambous. If you'd like to get in touch, you can email cyprusnewsdigest@gmail.com, and if you miss the programme, well, you can always find it through the Cyprus Mail website, or you can download it for free from iTunes, subscribe to your RSS feed, or you can look for it on my YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and search for Rosie Charalambous. We've all been reading about the match-fixing allegations and a referee who's gone to the police, this time with hard evidence, which seems to point the finger at high-level members of the Football Association in Cyprus and at the Referees Association. Joining us on the Cyprus News Digest, we have Spiros Neofitidis. He is not only the chairman of the Players Association here in Cyprus, he also sits as a board member on FIFPro, which is FIFA's board for players in Division Europe. Can you start, Spiros, by explaining what effect these scandals are having on football here in Cyprus?
The effect, I believe, is very big, because after the rooms that we used to have, especially in Cyprus, about fixing the games, now we are looking after Panagi's deposits in the police. We are looking at a big case which is concerning, always from what Panagi says, some big positioning persons from the Cyprus FA and the whole family of referees about fixing the games.
Do we know why they were fixing the games? Was it for making money and gambling purposes, or was it in order to fix who stayed up in which division and who was relegated?
Normally, until now, from what we listening, is that they were fixing the games about helping some teams to rise more up in the board of the championship. Now, if in the next days appears that they were fixing the games about gambling, we will not be surprised, because we already have a huge cases of red or yellow envelopes that are coming from UEFA, which they appoint that in several games
there was a lot of betting.
A lot of betting, exactly.
Which flags them up. But I don't think any prosecutions came of those flagged games from UEFA, did it?
No, because it's, the whole system is just by sending a red envelope, it just appoints to the FA or to the police to search about these huge amounts of betting. It doesn't mean that the game has been fixed. So it's about researching the game and these amounts that they are betting on. And of course, we don't know, and we never inform about the steps that the FA or the police is making about these reports.
But this time we do, as we said at the beginning, have some pretty firm evidence from the referee who has gone public with this and gone to the police. And it does look like it's going to end up in court. Now, it's undermining Cyprus' probably most popular sport, isn't it? Because it must be having an effect on the players as well as on the fans. You represent the players. What do they say to you about this?
We are very disappointed from the behavior and from listening all this and from the behavior of the referees. Because when you go you go out to work to take out your bread, for your life, to feed your family, and you know that some guys are coming and they are deciding to destroy some teams or to fix the result of the game. Of course, it's very disappointing for the players. And of course, this made the life of the referees more difficult, especially now in the next games after Panagi reports. We see that during the games, most of the referees are very stressed up. And we saw in the last games that they make huge mistakes, which make us to wonder now, is a human mistake or they did it on purpose. And this is a very big problem for our members, because they need to control their behavior during the game and in the game. And if they pass the red line, that means they're going to have very big sanctions and very big punishments.
Right, so it's undermining the way the players feel about their professional living, but from what you've just said, it also has had a huge effect on the referee population, because one likes to think that the referees involved in the scandals that are unfolding were just a few.
We will see if there were just a few, because we record in the past that many referees, they retired or they left from the referee union, and by leaving they said a lot of things. What was the problem was that nobody has the proofs to show them out. So due to the law of Cyprus, by the speech or by saying that I was approached or something is happening, if you don't have anybody else to support for what you say, there is no case. And maybe these things, we knew them a long time ago, but we couldn't prove them. And this is what we say through the Players' Union and also for our members. If any professional football player or any other referee knows anything about what Panagis said to the police, he has to go and say it to the police.
What effect then, apart from possible changes to, I know you want changes to the law, so that there are better facilities for the police to investigate allegations like this, one of which is accessing mobile phone data, for example, which then brings us into conflict with personal data protection and so on. It's sort of like you're between a rock and a hard place, as we say, Spiros. What are you hoping for?
I don't hope for many things. We are making a huge research and also with FIFPro to pass over this problem, because it is a huge problem. If we have a change of the law, this could be very easy for the police to find the clues and take the guilty guys about this situation. Otherwise, we need to find solutions to break down all the players or the referees to testimony for what they know, but from the other hand, we need to find a way to protect their ID, because we know that maybe in most cases in the whole world behind all these situations, maybe they are criminals or the mafia. So we are still in the way of research also through FIFPro with a big campaign about, we call it Don't Fix It, and of course with the red button. We still are in the researching program. We made a small example in Finland, which went very good with the players, but we still stay back because of the cost of the project.
But you have got a project and a seminar coming up here to inform Cypriot footballers, or should we say footballers who play in Cyprus, about the penalties that are inevitable if they enter into match fixing. That's one thing. The problem when you've got the referees doing it is who oversees what they do, because we had the whole Referees Association involved in this.
We have to separate the two things. Of course, with the players, we want to make the seminar because we know that if there is a case about the players, about fixing the games, what is for sure is that the first people that are going to go in jail, it will be the football players. Mm-hmm. Because to speak honestly, if you're going to fix the game, the one situation is through referees, but sure, to make sure the result, you need to involve the players. So if we have a case with a fixed game, as it concerns the result, we are sure that it's going to be involving football players. And the penalties are very strong. It is a life ban from football, and it starts from 6 months to 4 years or even more to jail. We have a lot of examples in Europe. So what we want to make clear about our members is that we want to inform them, we want to make the seminar to let them know what are their rights and what is the path that they need to follow if they are approached by any guy that they want to fix the game. We want to make a questionnaire out to see how is the situation in Cyprus, if we can find if there are cases that they were approached by some guys to fix a game. Of course, it would be anonymously, the questionnaire. So we want to take out and give it also to the police and to the press, this questionnaire, to have a whole picture about how the football players in Cyprus are thinking, how is the life in the fixing the games in Cyprus.
But it's also warning them about those penalties and telling them that, particularly now that the lid is off, as it were, they're much more likely to be caught. Can I ask you what effect you think this has had on the fans? You've got fans who go to every single match of their team, and if it happens to be one of the teams that has been flagged as being on the losing side because of these referees' decisions, I mean, what do they feel?
Firstly, sure, we will have very big damage as it concerns the people to make them coming to the fields. So the healthy fans, if we can say them by these words, they're going to stay away from the fields. We see that people is not coming to the games lately.
So the clubs are actually going to lose out because the gates are going to go down?
Of course. The first thing is this. The second thing is that they're going to make more suspicious the fans. So with the first mistake of the referee, they will start behaving or to start to get angry or not behaving properly, because they're going to think, is this referee approached by the headquarters to make our team to lose? Is it a human mistake?
And if the fans don't have respect for the referees, then we have a real problem, don't we? How are you going to, well, it's not you as the Players Association, but how do you think the Football Association can restore that confidence so that fans go back to the games and feel that this is a sporting event and not something that's been drummed up and fixed before the first whistle blows?
This is a very, very huge question, which, to make me able to answer it, I want to know the results of the research of the police, because if the results are that the president of the referees and the other guy from the observatory of the referees are guilty, that means immediately that they need to resign everybody, to leave the football family, and to bring new people inside. Of course, if they are guilty, because we don't know until now if they are guilty.
It's a shame, isn't it, for the not guilty referees who are now all being tarred by the same brush?
Sure, because this will make their life difficult, but if they are not guilty or if they are approached, they have to go and say this to the police, because we know that if this thing existing and if the words of Panagi are true, that we're 100% sure that they are not only these two or one or two referees that they are approached, there are more. And because from what Panagi says, is started from the small divisions with very young referees. So what was their target? They wanted to make the young referees from a very young age to get in the system and to control them. I am 100% sure that there are more referees that they know about this.
Can Cyprus football recover from this?
Of course it can recover from this. But to recover, we need to put the knife deep in the bone. So we need to wait the results. And if the results
of the police
investigation are positive as it concerns the involvement of the FA vice chairman or the referee chairman, that means that everybody has to go home. If not, we have to see how we proceed.
It's obviously a long, hard road ahead for Cyprus football, but we wish you all the very best of luck. Spiros Neofritidis, thanks for joining me.
Thank you very much.
Other stories in the news here in Cyprus this week, well, possibly the disappearing hydrocarbons as world leaders meet in Davos. Total, the French energy giant, has said it will be cutting back on some of its activities, which could mean that it may ditch its search for offshore oil and gas in Cyprus EEZ. Russia is reportedly interested in securing the use of military facilities in Cyprus. It would appear that they'd like to use the Andreas Papandreou military air base in the Paphos district, they say, for humanitarian purposes in emergency situations. And the House Legal Affairs Committee says it aims to pass all the bills of an amendment relating to government officials' obligation to declare their sources of income and wealth by the summer. This is something that's come very much to the fore in the wake of all the scandals that have erupted over the past few months, and that ongoing scandal in Paphos has seen more arrests. Still in Paphos, a dreadful story for animal lovers this week when a cat was found tied up a flagpole after it had been skinned. It's not clear yet whether the animal was skinned alive or first killed. And if we look for a good news story, well, the central bank says it's going to lean on lenders to lower interest rates. Well, that about wraps up this edition of the Cyprus News Digest. Many thanks for your company. Hope you'll join me next week. Till we meet again, take care and God bless. Bye-bye now.